Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Hope everyone's doing well, of course. Sorry I'm late. Thanks for waiting. I just want to say hello to those of you who are already in the chat. Let me scroll up real quick here if you guys are still here. Hey, Scotty. Hey, Mike Drop and Mom. TCA. Callie. Kristen. Hey, Hard Eyes. Christy. Hey, June. Broken Dishes. Hello. Wow, this is so rare. I never usually have people that, so this is kind of exciting. But yeah, no, thanks again for being here. I see that Scotty's under his alias name again. He's probably going to troll me as usual. Likes to do that sometimes. Hey, Kyla. Hey, Teresa. 316. So we will wait just a couple minutes for some other people to get here, and then we'll go ahead and get started, and I'll drop the link. I don't have anything planned. I honestly have not watched too much of what's going on with the Gabby Petito case, just because it is such a circus, and I just really just don't feel like wasting my time watching all of these, in my opinion, ridiculous, not all of them, but some of these, specific channel creators, waste my time watching their live streams, especially when they have professional internet trolls on their streams as their guests, and just all these just wild and crazy theories that are out there. I mean, I'm sure you guys are all aware of, and I went over the article a little bit on my D live stream that I did a couple days ago, but I'm sure you guys, most of you are aware of the video, the TikTok video with the hand that's coming out of the garden bed of the laundry's home. I honestly, I don't think I've even looked at that whole video clearly, but I really don't need to, because I know it's just a bunch of like hoopla. But now there's like all these crazy theories going around that the laundry's buried Brian underneath their garden bed, hidden in a bunker, and it's just like it's movie script worthy, but it's like more B movie script. I mean, I couldn't make this stuff up if I tried. Again, you're talking about underground bunkers and Dog the Bounty Actor. And now I'm hearing something which I haven't had time to watch, and I really don't want to. But maybe you guys can fill me in about this. Shoot, who is it? No. Oh, I was going to say Charlie Sheen, but what's his name? I don't know. You guys can fill me in, hopefully. One of the Baldwins or whatever that's making a big fuss about it. Again, maybe you guys can fill me in. Hey, Mark. But I mean, really, and then I'm not one. You guys know I'm not one. I don't, I don't make fun of anybody or put anybody down for coming up with crazy conspiracy theories. And I'm not gonna say crazy conspiracy theories, because I know I'm a conspiracy theorist, and that's kind of my thing. But I mean, like, these, in my opinion, a lot of them are ridiculous theories that the people come up with in their heads with these true crime cases. And again, it's not really like their fault when you have a case, and for example, the Watts case is a good example where they left us with so many unanswered questions. So even though there was a bunch of information, or what it seems like a bunch of information with the discovery and all the body cam footage, we were still left with more questions than answers. And when just naturally as humans, if we don't get the answers from who we think is the source itself, what do? We're going to go and we're going to try to find and come up with all these theories as to what happened when we don't have those answers. So I totally get how people can just come up with anything and everything, but it's to a point where it's like, again, we're talking about literally the laundry's parents' house having an underground bunker that they somehow I don't know, planned in years in advance to dig, like they had planned this whole murder out or something, and now they're hiding their son below the bunker. And not only that, but somehow somebody's hand or Brian's hand came out of the ground zombie like, and just in time for Halloween, right? um like it's beyond ridiculous, and I just really, really, really hope that people start to wake up, because that's how extremely ridiculous this case is. And I'm beginning to see more and more. Maybe people are not 100% awake, but they are definitely questioning things more, and they're noticing things are not adding up. But it all leads back a lot of times, and I'll use a Watts case again as an example, with these orchestrated events. Hey, bad one. Yeah, and I agree, totally fake. But I've seen a lot of times with these orchestrated events and these hoaxes, a lot of people will see the discrepancies from law enforcement or the law enforcement agency or the FBI, and the incompetence by them and all the mistakes that they make, and they will automatically just go straight to, oh, it's a cover up, or the law enforcement is not doing their job or their due diligence in this case. But in reality, and again, in my opinion, the reason for that is, one, they don't care. They don't care if how ridiculous like something is, or if they're making themselves look incompetent. Like, it's either A, like I said, they don't care, or B, because it's done on purpose to confuse people. And a lot of times they want people, in my opinion, to think that it's a cover up, because again, they leave us with all these unanswered questions, and the media doesn't help, all the mainstream media sources, by giving out disinformation. And also, not only that, but they also give out you know all these theories and their opinions when they're supposed to be giving facts, right? Because they're the news, and provide sources as well. But apparently they don't have to do that. So when there's the incompetence by law enforcement, again, it doesn't matter, because they know that the majority of people are just going to hear the mainstream media, or they're just going to believe everything that they're told, and totally disregard any of the the holes and inconsistencies in the case. So, hey, Sunshine Joy. And the thing with the inconsistencies as well is, you're talking about, like, you don't need a ton of people, like as many people as a lot of people think you might, or you would usually need to pull off something like this, or an orchestrated event. But in reality, you really don't need that many people. This one's huge, but not everybody has to be in the know. And I think people disregard that and just think that there'd have to be hundreds and thousands of people in on it. And really, that's not the case. It's just your main characters, pretty much. And a lot of times you have, like, so all these FBI agents that are out searching for Brian Laundrie, and civilians that are just trying to help out, or these K9 units, they don't have to be in the know. So they're just simply doing their jobs, right? They're saying, hey, we have this missing persons case or this homicide case. We need you to go and take the K9s out and search around this area or whatever, for this missing person or for some remains, right? They don't have to be in the know. They're just simply doing their job. Wait, the bunker and hand are real. Wait, let me get back to my comments here. I'm sure Mark is being sarcastic, but we'll post it anyways if I can find it. Typical Mark, always making me laugh. Hey, MJ, Alex Baldwin. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I haven't watched that. Again, if someone wants to fill me in, or if anybody that comes up on panel wants to fill me in about the whole Alex Baldwin thing, then that'd be great, because I just really don't want to watch it. So the teeth and tooth mark, I'm not seeing, again, I haven't been following it, so I don't know anything about the teeth and tooth mark. So let's go ahead, and I'll drop the link. So if anybody wants to come up, please do so. And if not, then you guys are going to just have to listen to me ramble about pretty much nothing. No. But I don't mind. I will repeat myself as long as it takes until I can, you know, wake people up to all this deception that's going on right now. I mean, it's insane. And I really want to try to figure out what it is exactly that they're trying to distract from, because this is a huge, huge distraction. Again, you have all the mainstream media outlets covering this. You've got John Walsh, you've got Alex Baldwin, you've got Doug the Bounty Actor. Hey, Missy. And it's just, you can't turn anywhere. The Google articles, it comes up, but there's just so many people are infatuated with this case and they're glued on their television. So I really, really am curious to know, and I'm trying to keep my eye out for what it is that they could possibly be distracting everybody from. So look over here, not over there, at what's really going on in the world, right? At what's really important. And even like I said before in my previous streams, even if this were a real case and Gabby did really die and she was really murdered, why is it that her murder again is so important and worth the time from out looking for this Brian guy on this entire manhunt when there's so many people that go missing and are murdered all the time? And that's what people really need to ask themselves, is why is it that only some get so much mainstream media attention over others? And not only that, but when they get all this mainstream media attention and nothing freaking adds up. And I'm hearing a lot of, there's a link, you guys, if anybody's interested in coming up, please do so. There's a, I don't remember what I was saying, but I'll remember. Typical think. But I find it interesting too, as well, is this not 24-hour streaming, but from the WLFA or the Florida, the one guy that's the BJ or DJ or TJ. I don't know. I don't know what his name is. I'm terrible. But that he's got, I don't know. I'm curious to know what he did to get that gig to cover this entire case, to be the go-to guy. Hey, Marge. And but that they're live streaming all of this. It's when I did my live stream on DLive the other day, I kept just saying I hadn't streamed on DLive in almost like 20 days. So I took like a pretty long break from it, but probably wasn't a good idea because I was so giggly, and because this case is just so ridiculous, you guys. It's such mockery, and it just boggles my mind every single day when I go onto YouTube or the news, turn on the news, which I try not to do. And just so many people are just falling for it, hook, line, and sinker. Again, without just ever looking at it from a different perspective, or what could possibly be going on, or why things don't add up. Hey, Spacebound. But yeah, so I was on DLive and I was so giggly and I just kept saying, I couldn't think of a different word to describe this case besides ridiculous and just a circus. Like, I thought that the Summer Wells case was a circus, but this Petito case is just, it's, again, so ridiculous. I can't think of another word. I'm pretty good with words. But yeah, so. Oh, you're in Australia, Christy? I don't remember if I knew that or not. That's awesome. So the parents did find the body, because I keep hearing different things. I hear that like a camper. Oh, speaking of that, thank you for reminding me, Mark, because I would have probably forgot to bring that up, unless somebody else did. But hey, Shani. And okay. And but yeah, so I heard the other day that the parents went out searching and then like found the remains. And then I saw today on a video that a TikTok, of course, TikTok seems to be the go-to app for this case. That a TikTok user found the remains or some sort of items belonging to somebody. And yeah, right, TCA. Um, I wonder if I could play that video. It was a video that Unjustified put out, and if anybody's not subscribed to Unjustified, I'm sure the majority of you are. But if you're not, if someone can put Unjustified's link in the chat, she does a great job on these true crime cases, and I really respect her. So, if one of my mods could drop her link, that'd be great. But so in the video that Unjustified posted that I watched, it was only like, "Hey, me, Jamie." It was only like a minute or so long, and the TikTok hiker person that found these items, one of the items was a water bottle. So, if you guys have seen it, if you follow me, you know where I'm going to go with this. Um, you've probably heard me mention a lot of times that with these orchestrated events, these people like to throw it in our faces, of course, with all the symbolism and the numerology and the color patterns and number patterns. And they also like to tell us what they plan to do by inserting sometimes obvious and not so obvious clues and hints into movies and television, just like the Watts case that I made several videos on with my American Horror Story, how it pretty much followed the entire Watts narrative. But they will do that with the predictive programming, and also not only that, but put it, tell us inside of the current case or somewhere in there where they plan to have their next event at. They believe in karma, and they think that if they tell us what they are doing or planning to do, um, and we're too stupid to realize it, even though we would have no idea of knowing, or the majority of people, anyways, unless you know what to look for. But sometimes even the ones that are awake won't catch it. But so if they tell us what they're going to do or plan to do, or I'm sorry, what they're doing or what they plan to do, and we're too stupid to realize it, then that's our own fault, and they no longer have bad karma on their hands. So no matter, it's a messed up way of going about it, but that's what they believe. So when the Summer Wells case happened, I found it interesting that Summer Wells' name was Summer Moon, or Summer Utah Moon Wells. And so that's the kind of things that I look for. Like with the Watts case, it was difficult because Shanann traveled and Chris traveled so many places. And then they went to San Diego. They went to, she went back home to North Carolina, and they were wearing Steelers. So it was a little bit difficult, or a lot difficult, I should say, to try to pinpoint. But there's, like Ole Damengard, he's been able, through their clues that they leave us, has been able to predict these events, especially the ones that are not in the U.S., sometimes months before they happen, or maybe just a week before. So it's possible to predict where these are going to happen next. And sometimes they might not happen because maybe they notice people were catching on to them. I don't know. And sometimes they follow through with them. But either way, he's been able to predict several events before they've happened, due to their, where they think they're so clever, and they like to leave us hints. So again, I found it interesting that Summer Wells, her name had Utah in it, and I even said, "Hey, Moel, hi, Floral Gal." I found it interesting that Utah was in Summer's name, and I even said in Melissa Jade's chat, and if one of my moderators can put, please, Melissa Jade's link in the chat as well. Please subscribe to Melissa. She's amazing, and she always allows me to voice my opinion in her chat, where many other channel creators in the true crime community have no longer allowed me to do that. So I really, really do respect Melissa Jade, and I think she's doing a great job. So yes, if my mods can drop her link, thank you. So I was, when the Summer Rules was happening, I was in Melissa Jade's chat, and I said, if the next true crime case happens in Utah or somewhere about there, then you know where you heard it first, because I called it, right? And where did Gabby and Brian get pulled over when this whole case started? Moab, Utah, right? So again, it could be completely a coincidence, but those are the kind of things that I look out for, is just like when they mention specifically and sometimes multiple times certain states or areas. And even with this case, it might be difficult to predict the next one simply because they have been all over, So she's in bodies found in Wyoming. But when I saw that video with the TikTok hiker on the water bottle, she makes it a point, right? That it's in the center of the screen. And I hope you guys know what I'm talking about, or you've seen that video. What's my name in Melissa Jade's chat? What do you mean, Christy? It's just think for yourself. But so in the TikTok video, she makes it a point. She's like, oh my gosh, there's a water bottle here. I can't touch it. Right? She's like, I can't touch it, but there's a water bottle here. Like, why does she automatically assume that she can't touch it because of like ruining evidence, or because it could possibly be a part of a crime scene? I just found that like very odd when I watched that TikTok video. Like, she's just automatically assuming that it has to do with a homicide. Because, it couldn't possibly be that a hiker just sat there and was drinking their water and left it behind. It's like, oh no, I can't touch it because it's a crime scene. Like, she didn't say crime scene, but that was, what I was getting from her. But anyways, besides that, on the water bottle, she makes it a point. Hey, Angie, she makes it a point to say that what it read on the water bottle, and it says Seattle, Washington. So there's 55 of you in the chat here right now. If the next case happens, and I could be wrong because they can do it to throw us off too, I'm still going to keep a lookout for that. But the fact that it was just a specific TikTok video, and it's just, and Buddy says hello, where it's just the water bottle's right on the screen, and she's overly emphasizing the fact that there's a water bottle there, right? And that's the kind of things I look out for. And then again, also mentions several times that Seattle, Washington is on the bottle. So if the next high profile, like, it doesn't have to be true crime, it could be any tragic event. So whether it be like a shooting or a rioting, anything that's tragic or that seems to be like a really huge distraction. If the next one happens in Seattle, Washington, then you know where you heard it first. So just wanted to say that. But no, look out for those kinds of things, because again, they do tell us 99% of the time where they're going to go next, or where their next event's going to be. And I've also mentioned that with the Las Vegas shooting, and how that one concert goer was being interviewed, and of course her interview goes viral out of all the other ones, right? I mean, all the other crisis actor ones go viral too, but hers really went viral. And she was and at the time I didn't even think about it, but I remember Ole Damigard watching his content telling me that to look for clues about their next look, about where they're going to hit next. And so when the Watts case happened, not immediately, but I thought about it, and I was like, holy shit. The girl that gave that interview talking about how the woman and her boyfriend or a guy came into the crowd and started shouting in the crowd that you guys are all going to die. And then 45 minutes later, the shooting, yada, yada. But the girl in that interview is wearing a Colorado logo t-shirt, like the state logo. And so again, at the time I didn't think about it, but the next event to happen that was orchestrated, in my opinion, and I don't even know why I'm saying that, because this is my channel, but And I don't want to, you guys know I don't like to sway emotions of any of you guys, so, or anyone. But so she's wearing this Colorado t-shirt, and the next event that happened was in Colorado. The Las Vegas shooting was 2017. The Chris Watts was 2018. I also noticed, and I've mentioned this before, so again, if this sounds repetitive and you guys have heard this already, then I do apologize. But the next case after the Watts just so happened to be the Gannon Stout case. Well, prior to the Gannon Stout case, there was the Walmart shooting in Texas. I'm trying to remember where. Can someone remind me where? Because I'm having a space cadet moment. Hey, Michelle. What city in Colorado was the Gannon Stout case? Remind me. Oh, and I'll kick myself as soon as you guys do. Yeah, right. Broken dishes. Totally. Yeah, we won't go to the airport now. Maybe I'll do that one day. The whole conspiracy with that and mockery of all that with their airport. But I'm just trying to remember the city. It's not. It's a wherever the Gannon Stout case happened. That's the same city where that Texas Walmart shooting happened. So what are the odds that, you have the woman that's wearing the Colorado shirt, then the next one happens in Colorado, then you have the Walmart shooting in the same city, like totally different states, but same name, and then the Gannon Stout case, and then you have Summer Moon Wells or Utah Wells, and then we first see our couple in Utah with the body cam footage, and then now we have this TikToker that is making it a point to point out that there's Seattle, Washington on that water bottle. So again, if it happens in the next one is all over the mainstream media and it doesn't make sense and it doesn't add up and it's in Seattle, Washington, again, you guys heard it here first. Hey, Brandy. Oh, really, TCA? Oh, okay, that'd be awesome. Yeah, she'd probably do a much better job covering than I would, so I'll definitely be there. I'll look it up real quick. Says Colorado Springs, but I know it's not Colorado Springs. It's Scotty, I talked to you about this. Remind me. Okay, so El Paso. That's right. Okay, so the El Paso Walmart shooting happened just prior to the Gannon Stout case, and the Gannon Stout case was in El Paso, Colorado. So again, what are the odds that they just happen to coincide with one another? Hey, Alex. I just want to let everybody know that Alex is in the shower, you guys, and she's listening. I'm just kidding, Alex. Let me drop the link again in case you guys missed it. And TCA, if you want to come up again, please do. I'd love to have you on again. It was really nice talking to you last time. And the thing with the Denver airport, in my opinion, is, I mean, you have so much free Masonic like symbolism in Colorado, and it's a hot spot for that. And by putting all of that conspiracy bullcrap in the, hey, Tumbleweed, yes, thank you, Tumbleweed, El Paso shooting. But with that, all that conspiracy like stuff in the airport and just Freemasonic stuff, what they're doing, in my opinion, is they're like literally straight up mocking us, because there's a people that have said, oh, there's underground tunnels underneath the airport. So they're literally putting it in plain sight. So not only are they getting all their symbolism out there, but they're actually like rubbing it in our faces too with mockery, and which should infuriate anybody because it does me. And Michelle, if you want to come up, if you feel up to coming up, please do. And anybody else, you're okay, Alex. I was just giving you a hard time. Let me look up. I want to look up what's going on with this. The one dude that I just mentioned earlier. I can't think today. Baldwin, Alex Baldwin. If anybody wants to come up and fill me in on what else is going on with the case, because like I said, I haven't been following it. Okay, no problem, TCA. If I'm still on, you want to come up, please do. No, Christy, I have not watched Dave and TJ. I do not go to their channels anymore. I do not feel welcome in their chats. I've been blocked and treated disrespectfully in their chats. So I have not gone back to any of those creators that have censored me and or anybody else. And the thing about that is that, I think TJ does great work. She does great research. But with these cases, like, hey, Stephanie, good to see you. These channel creators, they can keep going over the timeline of the Watts case. They can keep delving into discovery. They can keep playing the same, over 3 years later, the same audio over and over and over again. But they're going to get nowhere. These cases are not meant to be solved. That's why they cherry pick the information and they release what they want us to see, and enough information to get people to stay concentrated and focused and distracted on the case, and especially in social media where they know people are going to delve into these cases and go through them with a fine-tooth comb. So they can do all these timelines, but when you have so many inconsistencies in the discovery itself, then how can they base anything off of facts or base the discovery off of facts? He did, Christy. He did for a while. But the thing with that is, even though I did appreciate him having me on his panel and allowing me to come up and voice my opinion, he would still censor me. So it's like, okay, you can talk about the mobile forensics and why Kessinger's text messages weren't recovered, because I'm knowledgeable in that because I did a lot of research on it. But you can't say it's a psyop, or you can't say that you believe that no one died. So in reality, I was still being censored, even though he was giving me a platform to talk on. And so I was appreciative of that in general, but the fact that I'm still somewhat being censored is bothersome to me. And the last time I was in his chat, I was told that I was pretty much off my rocker. So I didn't appreciate that either. And so ever since then, I did not go back. Apparently, being off my rocker, or I'm off my rocker because I stuck up for myself in other, chats when I was being timed out left and right, and being censored all the time. So I literally pretty much Melissa Jade and TCA are the only two streamers that I go into their chats anymore in the true crime community. And if I do, I will say one or two things to get my point across, but I won't say pretty much more than that. So, and Zav, yeah, Mark, exactly. Zav's always been great and respectful, but even in her chat, I still feel like I have to censor myself. So I just rather not even be there. There's no point. Hey, Nada. I'm referring to Seeking the Truth with Dave and Red X Files that Christy asked me about. Okay, Scotty. Yeah, let me know. Yeah, TCA, I'd love to. Day by day. Yes, I have talked to and spoken with Unjustified a little bit outside of YouTube, and she does know how I feel about it. Yes. And I think a lot of these channel creators, they have to know, I mean, and know about my theories, even if they don't watch my channel. But and I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but when these channel creators know that these true crime cases bring in so much views, and especially when they first come out, like the Summerwells and the Watts, and just it brings in views, and it brings in super chats, and it brings in money. So I just can't imagine, even if they knew or agreed with me, that they're going to just turn around and say, oh yeah, we agree with you, Megan, nothing to see here, these are all made up true crime cases, because then there goes their income and the money that they make from true crime, pretty much. MJ, honestly, I haven't seen MM on a lot recently. I'll go in there, when I see her on, but I just try to kind of shy away from that, just because it's just there's a lot of very opinionated people in there, and even I voice my opinion clearly on these cases, but and although MM and I have different views, we can still respect one another. I just I'm not, how do I put this? I'm not, clearly Shanann was not a perfect 100% perfect mother, right? No one is a perfect parent, but I don't want to sit there and scrutinize or do you know what I mean? Maybe I should just not answer that question anymore. Hey, Michelle.
Hello. How are you? Can you hear me?
Harry. Oh no, not this again.
Oh no.
Okay, I hear you. Good. I was like, no.
I'm all
Hi.
no. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Oh, we got Scotty in the background here. Oh, give me 1 second here. Backstage background. Hey, Scotty.
What's up?
What's up? What's going on? Thanks for being here. Hey, the Pink Dahlia.
So how you been, Megan?
I've been good. I've just been trying to cover this case. It's the circus.
I
But
bet.
yeah. How are you?
I'm good. I wanted to say hello to all your people in the chat. They're always lovely, lovely.
Oh, I have great followers.
Yes,
and
you have a very
subscribers.
great
They're
following.
awesome.
Very great following.
And you know to put your chat, or you're not your chat, but your link in the chat anytime, please. If anybody's not following Michelle, she does great work covering, all the other government corruption and crap that's been going on in the world that they're distracting us from. So please, if you have some time, please go over to your channel and subscribe if you like the content.
Thank you.
Scotty.
I appreciate that. I haven't been on. I haven't been on at all. Go ahead and talk to him. Talk to him.
How are you, Scotty?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Good. It's nice to hear your voice finally.
Yeah.
So what do you guys want to talk about? We don't have to talk about Gabby Petito. We can talk about anything you want.
Well, I did have a couple of things when you were talking about, you were trying to figure out the why, like what they might be trying to distract us from.
Right.
My wife and I were watching a show on Netflix called You, Y-O-U.
Yeah.
And the latest episode that we watched was called Missing White Woman Syndrome. And basically the main character, have you seen any of the former seasons of You?
No, I've never heard of it.
Okay. Well, it's basically about, these weirdo killer couple or whatever. But anyhow, there's a scene where the main character, who's a white male, he's in this library talking to a black female, and they start talking about some missing case or whatever, from the season. And the black female gets all bent out of shape because, she's pointing out how only white women, rich white women that go missing are ever, blown up into the national media and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. So it seems to me like one of the agendas is just further division, in addition to all the normal, the fear mongering and so forth. It seems to me like, it's just another way to also push more racial divide in an area that you might not think of that otherwise. I just thought that was very telling when I saw that on the current Netflix thing.
That's interesting. Yeah, I could agree with that as well. It's definitely division, and you have the BLM that came out where with all that with the protesting they called it, and even the mainstream media was calling it when they're destroying small businesses and burning vehicles. The mainstream media was still calling it protesting, like not rioting. And then it was like, where is all of law enforcement while all of that was going on? And I think that Michelle, you probably covered a lot of that at the time. Did you? Or that?
What was the question?
The BL, all the I just say BLM.
Well, oh yeah.
When all that was going on with the quote unquote protesting, but where was all the law enforcement in sight? They were nowhere to be found when all these so-called protesters were destroying, like I said, small businesses and burning vehicles and cop cars, but still no police in sight. It's like I wonder why, but that was my point, is from what Scotty was saying, to cause more racial divide.
Right. Yes. Well, I don't want to say too much on here because I don't want to get you hit, but the G Floyd, also, a psyops, that was all done by design. And yes, all the protesting and everything, that was all done by design, all paid and all done by design, and they still are.
You have those stacks of bricks. Do you remember the stack of bricks?
Oh yeah.
That were just placed randomly around, and it's like, oh, how convenient for these rioter protesters that there just happens to be bricks that we can just throw through windows. It's just everything is so staged all the time. I agree. Yeah.
Yes.
But the G Floyd thing was definitely 100% a psyop, and to cause racial tension as well and divide.
Well, and right now the biggest divide that they're doing right now is the vaxxed and the un. That's the biggest divide that they're going to work towards anybody. The ones that get the poke and the ones that don't.
Right. Yeah. And then it's your fault. It's your fault if you don't get it and someone else dies, right?
Right.
So they're using that too.
Which is all a bunch of BS.
Yeah, for sure. And fear. So it's always fear, like Scotty said. But I've been noticing with the Gabby Petito case, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, but they seem to be mentioning a lot the whole domestic dispute thing. Did you notice that, Scotty?
I haven't really been following that case. As soon as I figured out, that it was an obvious psyop, I just don't waste any energy on it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and that's what I said earlier in the stream. Was I can't find myself to take more time out of my day to just watch the circusness of it. Is that a word? Circusness? It is now.
And can I say something?
Yeah.
Before anybody thinks I'm a hypocrite in the Discord, the only reason why I posted that article link is because I subscribe to like 2 or 3 different like conservative news sites or whatever, and it just caught my eye. I mean, they usually send stuff that's political and so forth, but I saw in my inbox, I'm like, the Gabby Petito Brian Laundrie case. That's the only reason why I posted that article, because I just got it in my email.
Yeah, no one's gonna think you're a hypocrite except for me, and I'm allowed to. No,
well,
I'm just kidding. No,
so we're safe.
No, you're totally fine. But I've just been noticing from what I have seen, like especially the mainstream media, mentioning how that there was more than likely a domestic dispute as to why. I don't know. Those are the kind of things I look out for. So when the mainstream media or anybody else is mentioning specific keywords over and over again, that's what I tend to look for. And I've also noticed with the mainstream media in this case is they seem to be really like hyping themselves up. Like, oh, if it weren't for this case and if it weren't for us covering it all over the place, then these other missing remains from those 2 people that were in the same area that the other case, I don't know, I can't remember, someone in the chat can remind me, but or these other missing people or murdered people, like their cases wouldn't be known if it weren't for the mainstream media, like really trying to like build themselves up. I've noticed as well. And then you have like the lawyer. You have the lawyer first you have the coroner that I covered, where Dr. Blue, right? Good old Dr. Blue. And with his symbolism, pentagram looking star with a circle in the background, just plain sight right in our faces, and saying how it's against statute in the state of Wyoming to go over any other or mention any details of the autopsy except for the manner of death. But then somebody in the stream asked, oh, was she pregnant? Oh yeah, she wasn't pregnant. Like, so isn't that still answering? Like, you just totally contradicted yourself by saying that you can't answer any other details, but then you answer details. So, and then they still go up there and they don't give us hardly any information. Like, it's just all distraction. Like, they totally build it up like, oh, the coroner is going to be on. He's going to make an announcement. Like, ooh. And then, of course, what does everybody do? They go and they glue to their television. So I want to know what they are distracting from specifically.
Yeah,
is my question.
Hey, I have a question. I'm getting a lot of, I can hear you great, but yet there's a lot of feedback that sounds kind of like microwave popcorn popping.
It might be Michelle. It might be on Michelle's end. I'm not sure. Do you want to try muting yourself, Michelle?
No, it was doing it before I even signed on, and I just want to make sure that I'm not ruining everybody else's experience. And I noticed that when I'm on this StreamYard thing, I can't see the chat anymore, so I can't see what people are saying.
Yeah, I know. StreamYard is not that great, but I don't know. I don't know where the feedback's from. It might be you, Scotty.
Yes.
I can mute, and then we can see if it goes for a while, and then if it figure it out. I don't know why I would be it sounds like clicking. Yeah.
It's not you though, Michelle, because it was doing it before I even signed into StreamYard.
So then it's probably your fault, Scotty.
Clearly.
Blame you. I'm just kidding. No, it happens sometimes with StreamYard. So I'll mute or Michelle can mute. If you guys both want to mute, I'll talk and then I'll see if it does it. But it might be on your end, Scotty. You might have to
What do I
leave
do?
and come
Just
back.
put a mic?
I just want to say one thing. Thank you. Where'd she go? Oh, Hard Eyes. Thank you for posting my channel link. I appreciate that. I mean, you're awesome, but I mean, I'm not here to promote myself. If you guys want to follow, I haven't been on for a long time. I'm going to go live here shortly, not today, but sometime soon. I'd love you all to join. I just do like everyday events kind of type thing, or just have just a general talk about what's going on, in this world today. So, and I'm all about the truth too. And that's why I love Megan. It's because
I love you
she
too.
knows what's up.
We need more of us.
Yes, she knows what's up, and she follows a lot of the people I do, and yeah, and she's good people. So, and I really appreciate you having me on here. I just,
I'm
I don't
glad
know.
you finally came up. I'm super
Yeah, I
excited.
know. The first time, but yeah, I don't know how much I can contribute to any of your true crime stories, but I do know that they all fall just in line with the other psyops, and so yeah.
No, but I'm glad, and that's the thing is we don't even have to talk about the true crime because it all falls into the same category. So
Yes.
like the GF thing and the Capitol riot and all that. Like, so I want someone like you and Scotty up here because I want your guys's how do I say that? I want your knowledge on on these other events because they are important because they do all fall in the same category. And I want, a lot of my viewers to see that I'm not the only one that's seeing these events happening, and not just in the true crime community, but in all of these like tragic events. So I'm glad you guys are here.
And what's crazy is mostly everybody that does follow and comes to your chat, and I mean everybody here, they're all pretty much on top of it,
Know what's going on. Yeah.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
And it might be kind of like talking into an echo chamber sometimes, but again, I do get new people, especially from like, RV Truth allowing me to drop my link in his chat, but they're also awake too. But just from going into other channels, as many channels as I can, where I'm not censored, of course.
Right.
And like Melissa Jades, but a lot of Melissa Jades followers are pretty aware of what's going on as well, or for the most part, at least they're asking questions and not believing everything they're told. So yeah,
right. And I think what you've mentioned a million times that I've noticed that it's a symbolism that people really need to look out for. You think, oh, it's looking in the background of everything that's shown, and everything. They like to throw it all out there in the middle of our, right there, right in front of our faces, to show that they have to leave their mark. It's kind of like a
like a serial killer kind of thing, right?
Yeah, they have to leave their mark. So they have to just spell it out in front of us. So that's always a good way of seeing it. If it's like you've always said, if it's on mainstream media, or if it's the GOV that's spewing it, because if anybody doesn't understand, the GOV and the media are all one entity. One doesn't work without the other, and that's because of the Smith-Month Modernization Act 2012. So if you guys don't know what that act is, which I know I've heard Megan a billion times mention, look it up, because it's very important that you guys understand that they work together as one entity. And that means any broadcasting, not just the mainstream media, all the Petitio, anything that is broadcasting. Anything.
Television, movies, they can literally put
everything,
whatever they want in it, make it up, push propaganda with them, and they can do it 100% legally with no repercussions. And not only that, but it's also funded by us, the taxpayers. So, it can't be, led back to them either, as far as like the government goes or the mainstream media. So and I have mentioned it so many times that they can literally make up whatever story they want, whether it be like a local story about an alien sighting, or about Scotty being kidnapped by aliens.
That was true.
Right.
Oh,
That
that
was
was
made
true.
up.
You're right.
They're
That was
legally
true. You're right.
they're legally able to push propaganda on the American people without being sued. That's
Right.
basically what the act is.
Yeah, we can't make a
Any
big
kind of
deal about it.
propaganda.
Yep. Exactly.
And
But
people don't understand that. And you know, I think that's very important for people to understand. But see, and pretty much nowadays it's all, I mean, anything that comes out of the mainstream is a lie. I mean,
yeah,
just so you guys all
100%.
know. I don't think there's anything that
I don't either.
is,
I really don't.
I don't
Like,
think
there
there's
might
not
be a
even a
little
little
bit
bit.
of truth, but even like Fox News, like sometimes I'll watch that Gutfield show just because he's hilarious and they're just the characters that are on there, but
Right.
they'll still be pushing some sort of propaganda. They're still part of the mainstream media, so I don't trust them one bit. I just watch them for the entertainment. But yeah, no, you can't turn anywhere without having to wonder if what they're telling us in the news is real or not. Whether it be a good story, like an emotional story that they want to sway opinions with, or if it's a fear-based story, if it really doesn't matter. And if you've seen, I've played a couple times like on my D Live, and I think I even played it on one of my YouTube streams, is there's a couple of videos that creators made where they're literally all the news outlets are saying, yeah, I think it is you, Scotty, by the way. Blame Scotty some more for the clicking. Scotty, if you want to, please stay up here.
Maybe earphones.
Try to leave and come back in, maybe.
He's muted.
Okay. So, but they made a video of all the news outlets like saying the same phrase over and over again. Have you seen that? So they're all like under the same script. It's crazy. Yeah, okay. I figured you did. But yeah, so they're like, oh, it's somebody's birthday, somebody happy birthday, or whatever it was. It was so stupid. It was just this little phrase, but all of the news stations across the country were all saying the same thing. It just shows how scripted they really are.
33 new cases in Washington, 33 new cases in Texas, and today's 33 new cases. Yeah, it goes. I mean, they're all reading a script. They're all told what to say.
Yep, 100%. They're all controlled by the same people. So, and that's the problem with like, as far as the issue we're having, as far as people, like the mainstream media can get out these stories, these fabricated stories to so many people and so quickly. And they have the power to do that, where someone like myself or you, we can't like get news stories out there like that, or what we're trying to say like to that many people. We're not the mainstream media. But when the government and these organizations that are orchestrating these events have all of those mainstream media outlets behind them, backing them up to get out their fabricated story, it really benefits them like greatly. So it definitely helps them on that aspect. So
right. Yeah, and they're people need to understand is the and I'm not, don't quote me on this, but I'm just going to say it, and I'm going to try to sugarcoat it just so you guys can kind of understand, because we know we have big ears on here, but any type of large type of bang bang boom boom that goes on in the United States or anywhere else for that matter, I'm calling it. They're psyops. I haven't found one real one yet.
Nope,
So,
I haven't either.
I'm calling it out. Not yet.
Yeah, no, and that's, I didn't even realize it, and that's with the Watts case that I've said before. Like I had my suspicions about the McCain case and the John Bonet and even O.J. Simpson. Like that could possibly be real, but maybe it's the media just really hyped it up because he's a pro football player. But what distracts people more than a African American pro football player being going to trial for murder? So I would have to go and like look back at what was going on at that time to what they could possibly be distracting from, like the masses. But so I had my suspicions, but I never even like thought that they would be orchestrating these true crime cases. Like, never
Yeah.
even crossed my mind. But then when
Yeah, when you think about it, they're on TV. Anything on TV. Just, I mean, thinking about like the court TV, when they show the court TV, what's her name?
Judge Judy, whatever. No.
What was her name? With the little girl, Casey Anthony.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like TV show. Yeah, Casey Anthony.
No. Mm-hmm. Those kind of case. Those, I'm telling you, those are all.
And it's also one where they're always leaving us with more questions than answers. And it's like, why is there more questions when these are so televised? There's so much information being released. The court cases or the court trials are televised, and it's obviously distraction from something, and to push or sway emotions and pull at heartstrings. And then when Casey Anthony got off or whatever, or I don't know what she get, like 3 months of probation. I don't know. She got off really well. Everybody thought she was guilty. And what did everybody do? They were freaking pissed off, infuriated. She's out, and so it doesn't matter what kind of emotions it is, like whether it's anger, like sadness, it's all to sway emotions in some sort of way and to just confuse and distract.
Fear.
100%, in my opinion. So
fear.
I wanted to mention something about the symbolism that you said, and I've always mentioned this, that I'm hoping that the symbolism will be their downfall. But even if and I know that symbolism isn't like, for a lot of people, especially if they're not awake, it's not 100% like facts, because they use like triangles, like a triangle shape, which is a very common shape. You find it in signs, in buildings, and it's just wherever, like it's a really common shape. But it's, so they do that so that when someone like you or myself was like, oh, look at all these triangles in this cases, then we look like the crazy person, because it's like,
right.
Well, you're just trying to find yield signs or triangle signs that are really common. So that doesn't mean that it's orchestrated, Megan, right? Or Michelle, you're crazy. You're just looking for this stuff. But it's like, once you know how these people are, and how many times do you have to find a triangle, or how many triangle necklaces does this Gabby Petito girl need to be wearing, or how many triangles need to be behind her, or or the whole case just happens to take place in a mountain range where there's a bunch of triangle peaks. It's like, how many times does it have to happen, or does it need to pop up until it's not coincidental anymore? And I think that people need to realize that. And once you are awake, it's so blatantly obvious and just in your face and laughable at how almost like they do, in my opinion, they do a great job at putting these operations together, because they're obviously fooling millions of people with them, right? So they do take sometimes years to orchestrate these, but even at the same time, though, they're still so sloppy. And that's when you see like people like, oh, the incompetence by law enforcement, and law enforcement's not doing due diligence, and they're not doing it correctly, and it's a cover up, but it doesn't matter, because they know that the majority of people are just going to believe it because they heard it from the mainstream media.
Right.
Like,
the symbolism, I think it's important, but I think it's important after the fact. I think what's important is people seeing the actual psyop for what it is, and then understanding the symbolism that goes with it. It's too hard to show people the symbolism, and then I'd rather show them the actual. I think they're very sloppy, and a lot of the psyops they do. Some of the true crime, I'm sure they're not so sloppy in, but I really think they're sloppy. But the way I've always told Dub, I've always told him, I said, why fix it if it ain't broke? Because it fools masses. And so they're like, I mean, they can get the most terrible crisis actors out there and just I'm talking, just smear it. And people are like, oh my gosh, and start crying. Oh my gosh, can you believe that? Oh,
yeah, I know. And they're so bad. Like they're
They
so
are
bad.
horrible.
I don't know if I told you this, but I was joking, and I still want to do it one day. I think if I get bored or something, or if there's no case to cover, which I'm sure there will be, because these cases are gonna continue. They're not gonna slow down. They're just gonna keep doing them. And like you said, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Like, so they're gonna have all these same characteristics, and they're gonna keep using them as long as they're working. So that's
Right.
beneficial to us, because that's what I've been trying to, for the past 3 years, been trying to educate my viewers on, is that they use these same characteristics, even though
Right.
they will have different ones catering to that specific event. But so, for instance, even though the Las Vegas shooting was a mass shooting, and the Watts case was a family or a familicide homicide case, still tragic, but two totally different, because the mass shooting and the homicide. But they still had all of the same characteristics as one another. And that's why I was able to just take a step back and look at the Watts case from a different perspective and go, what's going on here? Why was there so much information released with the Las Vegas shooting? Why was there so much information in this discovery released in data dumps as well? Not as many. In the Watts case, why was there so much body cam footage released with the Las Vegas shooting? Why was there so much body cam footage released with the Watts case? And, why specifically the Watts case? Why is it getting so much mainstream media attention over the other homicide cases? And why is nothing adding up? Why are they cherry picking what they give us in the discovery? Why did they cherry pick what they gave us in the FIT report? So and how convenient that Stephen Paddock just so happened to commit suicide. Dead men tell no tales. So there's no one to put on trial for trying to find this guy guilty for murdering allegedly 58 people at a concert. How convenient that Chris Watts confessed to murdering his wife after just 4 days and like a couple hours of being interrogated. So now there's no trial. So that's convenient, after they've already pushed like this narrative out to people. Oh, no trial. So we'll just stop investigating this homicide case because the guy pled guilty. It's just all about convenience.
Right.
So,
And there is a question I want to ask you. I know that there's been a little bit of conflict in your chat, not today, but as not conflict per se, because just difference of opinion, put it that way. Not because your chat has been always awesome. So it's just difference of opinion is what I'm going to say. That I disagree with. And I just wanted to get your opinion on it. And I'm not going to call anybody out or anything, because, I think everybody has a right to their opinion and what they know and what they don't know. That there's nothing wrong with that. And, I'm all about the truth. So I just kind of wanted to get your opinion on this. Now, from what I've learned and thought about and put my critical thinking hat on, I want to see what you think. Now, I've seen where people say that in a psyops, like a mass shooting or something in a psyops like that, people say I've seen some people say, oh, well, some people die and some people don't in the same psyop. Okay. I'm not saying in different psyops. I'm saying in the same psyop. So if it's a psyop, and then they say that some people have died from that psyop, but then yet there's fakery in that psyop. What is your opinion on that? Do you believe that to be true or not to be true?
So if what I'm understanding correctly, or from what I've learned, is that, and it wasn't just until recently that I realized there was a difference between the FF false flag and like psyop, but with false flags, I don't know, because I called the Las Vegas shooting a false flag, but I honestly don't believe I don't believe cough anyone died cough. No, but like that's gonna cover the YouTube algorithm, right? That was terrible. But no, but I don't believe that anyone died. And if they did, it was because they were trampled, or they were just simply scared, like they were an elderly person, and they just scared them so much that they had a heart attack. So if anybody died, to me, that's the way they would die, but not from what the mainstream media said. But I was recently told that like the difference between false flags is that people really do indeed die. So when you have your you're different types of victims. So you're unwilling and unknowing victims that just so happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Or like, for instance, 9/11. 9/11 is a perfect example of a false flag and not a psyop, because they weren't, I mean, yeah, they were trying to like sway opinions and emotions and whatever and to start the war or whatever. But people really did die in 9/11, on 9/11. But like, for instance, the Watts case, to me, that would be a 100% psyop. Or any of these true crime cases would be 100% psyop, and no one died. To simply push.
Does
Does that answer your question, or was I?
Oh yeah, no, that's perfect.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna say, I just want people to kind of think this through. What I'm about ready to now. In a psyop, like if it, I'm not gonna say FF, because I don't even call them. I don't even believe in really false flags. I believe in fake flags. But what I'm saying is, you can't have, you're going to have, like say the Vegas shooting per se. I did like 3.5 years of total investigation on that and just dove right in it. That was like my life for 3.5 years.
Oh no, I know. That's why I was like,
you know what that, you know how that goes. But what I've learned through the years, Vegas was my started to open my eyes to a lot more, was the beginning of it anyway. But in a psyops, you can't have some people over here croaking, and you can't have people over here not. Oh, bang bang, pretend, fall down, go boom. And just think about this. It would be too much of a liability per se. They have, everybody, when they have a psyop, they have to sign a disclosure agreement, because they're not allowed to, people say, how can they hold off that lie? Well, they're paid. For one, they're paid.
Right. The non-disclosure agreement, more than likely. Yeah.
Basically, they have to sign their life away. They are not allowed to give out any disclosure whatsoever. Okay. So they have to sign that. You can't have, it's just too much. It's too much of a liability. You can't have, fake over here and real over here. Okay. Because you're going to have to close those both off and keep them tightly closed. And there's just no way. So I want people to understand, when there's you got half that you see that's totally fake, and then you're going, but I don't know about this one over here in the same psyop. You're going to have to think it's got to be all or nothing. Okay. I'm not saying that nobody's ever, as of yet that I know of, I can't say that 100% that nobody has ever died in a psyop, but I'm pretty close to saying no, but I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Okay. But I'm just saying, if you put your critical thinking hats on, you can't have half and half. You can't have some here and you can't have some there. You got too much liability. So they're not going to have 1/10 of real and 1/10 that's a fake. It's just, there's too much liability, and the fake, the real and the fake would get so intertwined that it wouldn't work if you think about it that way. Now they can have people that they see. I don't even believe that the concert happened in Vegas. I'm on that page that there was really. Yeah.
No,
I think so I'm that's kind of where I'm at on the Vegas thing. But so when they have a staged event, it's a show. It's a stage. Everything that they have there is a stage. I know every body cam that was made there was false. We're all fake. Not one body cam was real. Zero. So you have to kind of look at, once you see the majority or a good portion of a psyops that is false, then most likely You can't, there's not going to, people, you can always hear somebody says, oh, I heard from a friend that she said her sister was there, or blah, 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 died, or she had a cousin of a friend that her
Right.
dad
Yeah.
was
It's
shot,
always like third
blah, blah, blah,
parties,
blah.
never directly.
Right.
And even,
Or you get people that come in and jump in your chat, and they start saying, oh, well, I had a friend that was there, or whatever. Those are shills. Those are paid shills that are jumping in to throw off the narrative.
right.
Because most likely, if you had a loved one, I'll tell you, if I had a loved one that was shot in Vegas and the way they handled it, I would have brought, like, if my son had died there per se, I would have brought the house down. It would have never end. And you didn't hear
Right.
not one person's family, everybody screaming, hollering of the 58, 59, however many they want to say now is deaths. You don't hear any of the families coming out speaking on it. So,
And that's a
and you never
huge,
did.
yeah, that's a huge red flag. And that's what I've mentioned about, I'm glad you mentioned that, about the Watts case, and why so when I get someone that says, how can you say that no one died, or that, or if I say that there's no proof, and then there's like, well, they were buried in here, or there was coffin, like, that's still all hearsay to me. But what I look at more is that, so it's not like specifically the fact that we didn't get autopsy photos, right? It's not just that. There's other things that I look at besides just the lack of evidence, number one, or the lack of any information that shows that anyone died. But when you look at the Ruseks, their behavior tells a lot. So the fact that they're trying so hard to, and you probably heard me talk about this before, but, and I know you don't follow the true crime a lot, but their behavior tells a lot, because they're so, number one, they're so contradicting. They contradict themselves all the time. Talk about the case, don't talk about the case. We're going to get our lawyers involved if you talk about it, even though it's highly publicized. But then we're going to go on Dr. Phil, and we're going to publicize the deaths of our family, of our daughter and grandchildren, and then we're going to stream the funeral live on Facebook for the whole world to see. But you're not allowed to mention our names, even though it's highly publicized. You can't talk about the case. You just back and forth. But not only that, the fact that they are so involved on social media, when again they contradict themselves and they say, oh, we're trying to stay away from social media because we're getting death threats, and we're being harassed, and our information is being doxxed, and our daughter's being talked bad about, right? But then what do? They go in and actually insert themselves into social media, and not just social media, but the true crime community, where that's all that people do in that community is talk about the deaths in these homicide cases. So,
Right.
And then also they being on social media so much still, when they say that they're trying to stay away from it, and all they're doing is trying to convince us that law enforcement, one, did such an amazing job, an outstanding, everyone,
Exactly.
then that's what they're literally doing. And it reminds
Every
me,
time.
yeah. And so it's like, even though clearly, like, everyone in the true crime community that actually delve into the case and the discovery, maybe not people that just, are not on social media in the true crime community, and they just hear it on the news, maybe not those people so much, but clearly there's so many red flags and inconsistencies in that Watts case that it's hard to believe that the Ruseks would be so convinced that law enforcement did such a fantastic job. And then they come out and say, oh, well, we know more than you, and we're not going to tell you everything we know. And then they come out and say, there's no conspiracy. And you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of what's his face? I try to forget his name from the Las Vegas shooting. What's his name? I'm having a space cadet moment. Remind me, Michelle.
Okay, somebody said it.
Las Vegas shooting sheriff, not Aaron Rouse, but what's his face? Idiot.
Oh, you got me on the spot. Oh, I'm sorry, right? I didn't mean to
No, you're fine.
Sheriff Lombardo.
Yeah, I was gonna say Sheriff Arpaio because of Arizona. But yeah, Lombardo. What did he come out and say? Oh, there's no conspiracy. And so
right.
when the government comes out, or law enforcement comes out and says that, or anybody that's involved, that has to make it apparent and try to convince people that there's no conspiracy, that's probably more than likely something going on or conspiracy. And they're trying to convince us of that. And that, like I said, that law enforcement did such a great job so my point is, and I know I got sidetracked there a little bit, but my point is, if this were a real, true grieving family, and with all the inconsistencies in the case and the fact that it is so highly publicized, why are they not demanding answers, the Ruseks in particular, and the Watts? Why are they not pounding at DA Rourke's door saying, what is going on? Why was the mistress not investigated when she was the closest person to this man who confessed to killing my daughter and my grandchildren? Right. What is going on in your investigation, DA Rourke? Why did we believe that the girls were alive when they left the house, and then this stupid shadow theory comes out, and now we're led to believe that they are alive and they weren't murdered until, like, to me, if that was my family, that would look to me like that the DA Rourke didn't know what the fuck was going on in his investigation. Excuse my language. Like, so when I don't see and everybody deals with death differently, I get that, but when you're dealing with all those inconsistencies and I just don't see the type of behavior that you would think you would see from a grieving family with all those inconsistencies, and why they're so convinced that law enforcement did such an excellent job. And not only that, like I said, they're trying to convince people on social media, of all people, when they should be staying away from it. Like, what do they care? What do the Ruseks or the Watts care what any of us insignificant people have to say about them? Like, in real life, they wouldn't, but they're trying to push an agenda by
and
staying
let me
on
tell
social
you
media.
what one of the things that helped me a lot to figure out a real type of psyops or whatever. I'm echoing a little bit here.
You sound okay to me, but
if I'm echoing, you guys let us know. Maybe I should turn myself down or something. I don't know. Anyway, but the one thing that helped me is everybody needs to, think for themselves. Okay. Obviously that's, you push that. But they don't, they just listen and believe everything they're told. But what I'm saying is, okay, think about this. If somebody, I'm grieving and somebody had just killed my son, and why would I be getting death threats?
Exactly.
Yeah. Why would I've never in my life heard of that in real life. Right. In real time, never in a million years ever heard that, unless, it's a gang related, killing or something, blah, blah, blah. Which I lived in New Mexico, in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is a very high crime city. If nobody ever knew that, but I lived there for like 38 years, and I'm telling you that, something like that maybe, but not just out of the blue, and people don't think for themselves. They I always look back and I think, okay, if there was a SWAT team going into, they're doing a massive warrant or whatever, and they're going to somebody's house, they go in and they come out. They don't go in and it takes them 5 hours to get in the door, to breach it, that kind of stuff. That's not real life.
It's not.
Real life does not happen like that, and people don't look at stuff like that. Real life happens. You got to think, what would really happen in real life, and people don't think that way. And so that's a big, that's a big thing for me, is that when I automatically see the way they set things up, I'm like, automatically I look at it and I'm like, nope, that wouldn't happen in real life.
And you don't have to be in law enforcement or be on a SWAT team to pretty much know that, and you just get a sense that it doesn't seem, something's not right about it. But you make a good point. When do you ever hear about victims' family members getting death threats? But there's a reason behind that, and I've been trying to tell my viewers that and point that out, is that they're trying to take away free speech from social media. They don't want us talking and questioning about these cases. They do in a sense, but they don't. So they're trying to, and they also do the whole victim card thing. So we're the Ruseks, we're suffering, we're victims, our family members were killed, poor us. But even though they contradict themselves, and even though they say one thing, that we're staying away from social media because we're getting death threats, but then we're literally going to insert ourselves and cause drama and chaos and division in the true crime community specifically. They know that every time they show their faces on or go on at some channel and give, or creator channel or panel and give an interview, or say, oh, we know more than you do and you're never going to find, stuff like that, and rubbing in our faces, and
Right.
and they don't question it. They just go, well, they're hurting, so they make excuses for their actions. Like, even if it were, let's just say, even if it were a real case, people are still making excuses. And just because you're a victim, I always say, it doesn't make you perfect. It doesn't make you a saint. You just unfortunately are a victim. So the fact that people don't question their contradictions and call them out on their bullshit, it boggles my mind.
Right. And like, you should know this. I don't know. Another question for you. When you the whole time you were doing what's his face's case, the Watts case, I was like, what was his name? Did you have anybody coming in saying that they knew someone related to the family or the victims, or have you ever been in any rooms that had people come in the chats, or anybody that said they knew this person or knew that person ever, the whole time you were covering the case?
Yeah, not specifically in mine, but you have several channel creators that have, but again, that leads back to the family, both families having so much interaction on social media. So you have Cindy Watts, who's given interviews with channel creators. You have the sister that's gone on, you have the sister's friends that gone on, but that they're just all part of it, right? In my opinion.
Right. But what my question is,
they have had people that have come in, like one in particular in Zav Girls. Someone said that they knew Nicole Kessinger or something, but then when Zav Girl said, "Oh, come on panel and tell us your story," they beat around the bush, and they never ended up coming up. Or you have all these women that are claiming to write Chris Watts, and maybe they are, maybe he's writing back, but does that mean that he's really in prison? No. They don't know him personally. But yeah, no, but not in my chat specifically. I haven't had people claim, but even if they did, I wouldn't believe it because it's just hearsay. So
right, and let me tell you, if that was if most people, especially if it's a high crime like the Chris Watts, and he goes to prison for like however many, how many lifetime sentences and blah blah blah, this guy is not going to be. He's all right in real life. When you kill a child and all that, you don't really survive the prison, so they put you in. You're not in general public, so saying, okay, so it's a psyop. So say, who's going to ever know? Who's going to ever be able to find that guy in prison? If it's a psyops, they're not. And now, if it was a real true thing, are they really going to actually find him in the prison? I'm going to say not. No. There's just no way, because they're not going to have him exposed anywhere to begin with. Right. So, it's easy for them to cover up. It's easy for them to say he's here, but he's not. I mean, I could go on and on when it comes to any of that. They're just fictional characters. That's all they are.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing too, is, a lot of people will say, because the mainstream media says, oh, Christopher Watts is being transported from Well County to Dodge Correctional in Wisconsin. So that means it must be true. But it's really not. Like, if you think about it, anything that we're told in the mainstream media or in any of these true crime cases or any of these tragic events, it's all hearsay. So unless you're directly involved, like, and like you said earlier, oh, I know a friend of a friend of a friend, or my cousin, or whatever, or my friend knew the police officer in the case. That's still all hearsay to me. That proves like nothing to me whatsoever. And you can call the prison and you can say, is Christopher Watts an inmate there? The person at the front desk, what do you think they're going to say? Well, yeah, of course, like, because they're not in on it. and they're probably just told that he's there. They don't go into the back of the prison, or they don't know if he's really, you know what I mean? So it just, even calling the prison, or him having a commissary where you can send him money, does that automatically mean that he's in prison? No. Like, even if I like was at the prison and I saw him sitting in a jail cell, I probably still wouldn't believe it. And how difficult would it be to go and have him sit in a cell and go, look, he's really in prison? You know, it's just and a lot of people maybe not understand that. They're like, well, why wouldn't he be? Well, why maybe I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's a lot easier to, when you see it, than it is to explain it, I guess. I mean, you're better at it than I am, but
no, I'm not. We're kind of a lot alike in the same way. We can go on and on. I can go on forever, and it takes me forever sometimes just to explain my whole point. But you're the same way I am. So I
don't like, I can see it. I just
don't
know how to explain like the psychological like aspect of it. So like the whole, I've explained before, like with the Chris Watts neighbor footage where he's allegedly loading the bodies in. Like, I don't know how to, I mean, I know how to explain it, but I don't know how to explain like the technical psychological terms of it. So when that was released, and people, the mainstream media and in law enforcement are saying, this is what's happening in this video. Like, he's loading the bodies of his dead family that he murdered, right?
Yeah.
But do we actually physically see any bodies, or are people just believing it because does it look like he's doing what they're being what we're being told? Is he walking backwards as if he's dragging a body? Sure, but do we physically see any bodies, or any bodies being put in that truck? No, but people will believe it, because if you have the mainstream media beating it into their heads over and over again, saying this is what you're seeing, then people are more likely to believe it. Like, does that make sense? That's why I said it's like, I know there's probably some specific psychological terminology for it. I don't know all of that. But in reality, you don't physically see any evidence of what you're being told. So you still have to take it as like hearsay, and just and not truth, I guess is what I'm saying.
Exactly. But I was what was it? It was some kind of protesting going on. I'm really good at that kind of stuff too, the protesting stuff. Dub, my good friend Dub, he helped me point out a lot of stuff on how to see through all that. But I was watching, it was some major protesting. Where was it? Can't remember exactly where it was. It wasn't that long ago. But I was watching, this whole long video on it. These people were, driving through the parking lot of where the protesting, and they were, breaking the windows and everything, and they were but they were like doing this like story on it, and these are people in the car, these are journalists, blah 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 blah, not no mainstream, but of course they all get mixed in together. But they were saying this whole thing. They're driving in their car and they're pointing out everything that they were saying was the total opposite of what they were showing you. And I was like, wow. I was like, people don't use their eyes, and that's just that's what kills me, is that they're listening. But when you have to see the truth, you have to open your eyes and your ears, and you have to look at everything around you, and you have to have just the biggest open mind to see it all, and to know how the government's ran, and to know who really runs the government, and that kind of stuff, and to know all that stuff. That's the thing that you need to know and be so open-minded about and understand, and to see it. To actually see. People don't use their
eyes. And I forgot what I was going to mention. Shoot, I lost my train of thought. But no, yeah, you make a good point. I do that all the time. I'm like, okay, I'm
so do I. That's why I laugh, because you're kind of like a lot like me.
Totally, I know we are a lot alike. Shoot, I don't. Oh, I remember what it was. So I don't think you were in my last stream, but I mentioned a couple of times the fact that do you remember when Stephen Paddock, when it was only like 3 months into the investigation, and they had the whole thing where his brother went and picked up his ashes because he was cremated, right?
Right.
When I saw that, I'm like, okay, this is so ridiculous. We're talking about the biggest mass shooting allegedly in U.S. history, where 58 people supposedly died, and you're gonna cremate this guy's body who is supposedly guilty of doing this. And while there's still an ongoing investigation, while the investigation's still open, the
Right.
LVMPD was still investigating, the FBI was still investigating, and you're going to cremate this guy. So if for whatever reason they needed to go and exhume his body and do another autopsy on him or
Right.
something, well, now you can't, because this guy's, how conveniently, his body is now cremated. Well,
and he's in the sea now. No, we're kidding.
right,
He's-
with what's his
he's floating
face,
down-
Bin Laden
floating
or
down the
whatever,
river.
right? Oh no, we did. We got him. We got him in a cave, and then we cremated him, and now we spread his ashes in the water. So there's no proof of that now, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's how convenient. No, so with this, and then with this Gabby case, Petito case, it was, she'd only been deceased, or they just let us know, for like a week. Guess what? They cremated her body.
Of course.
So, right. So it's like, okay, this is still an investigation. They haven't, this guy, Brian, they're out the whole freaking country, the FBI, and just Dog the Bounty Actor, right? I would say, is out looking for this guy. And John Walsh is even getting all his publicity for his TV show out now, right? He's making a big hype about it. It's just like all these actors are involved. But you know, if Dog the Bounty Hunter says that this case is real, or that he's looking for him, it must be real, even though he's an actor, right? But no, so they're out searching for him. She's only been deceased now, or found for like a week, and they don't even know where Brian is. So what if, like, let's just say it is, let's play along and say it's a real case. What if it goes to trial, and the defense wants to exhume her body and have a different coroner take some more DNA, because they don't think that maybe the Dr. Blue did just did an outstanding job, right? Or whatever the case. I don't know how it works, but I'm just saying, when you cremate evidence I mean, that's what it is. I mean, they are evidence. I mean, Stephen Paddock is part of the investigation, right? That's still evidence. And when you cremate her body, now it's gone forever. So the fact that if it did go to trial, if it was real, that's the kind of stuff like you were talking about earlier, where that's just not real life.
Right. It's just not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's like a good example, but to me, that's what
a perfect example.
Where it's really not. Or the fact, like, I don't know if you were in my stream for when I played the body cam footage when they got pulled over, where the cop says how, he says on the body cam that the Brian's swerving, or the guy driving swerving, and he might potentially be intoxicated. So I'm gonna pull him over for being suspicious of being under the influence of something, right? So what is the first thing when you get pulled over that the police officer says when they walk up to the vehicle? Usually.
Are you asking me?
Yeah. I mean, like, license and registration, right?
Right. Or they say, you know what, you know why I pulled you over, correct?
Right. Yeah. Or just something along those lines. But no, he doesn't even go to the driver's side, doesn't ask for license and registration, immediately pulls her out, leaves him in the car, doesn't give a field sobriety test or anything. Like, yeah, there's things that you can that they look for, like the glossy eyes or the slurred speech. But even then, sometimes people, if they drink enough, they can control that. You can't spot those. So there's obviously certain reasons why, or tactics that they use with those field sobriety tests or whatever. Right. So the fact that he says on body cam that he's pulling him over for a suspicion of being under the influence of something, and then fails to, number one, fails to give him a sobriety test, either one, but then ask them if they've been drinking or on any drugs, and they say no, and he goes, "Oh, okay then.
You guys just go on your merry way.
Seem like a nice young couple. Why would you lie to me?" Right? And that's that again. That's it. That whole thing where it's just not realistic, and especially if you've ever been pulled over. you know that's not how it works. And
No.
even if it's in a different state, they obviously have different protocol, but for the most part, it's the same. And especially since he's saying that he's pulling them over for suspicion of that, and he doesn't even bother. He just asks and goes, "Oh, okay." She's like, "Oh, I don't drink." Okay, well, you're a cute 20-year-old.
You're good to go now. You guys can go. You love birds.
Yeah, and then it's like the whole body cam. When I was watching it, it immediately goes to like straight to domestic dispute. And the cop seems to just completely forget about the whole fact that he pulled him over under suspicion of being under the influence of something. So it's like stuff like that again, like you said, that it's just not real life. Like cremating bodies while there's still an investigation going on. Or this, then you have Dr. Blue coming out and making this big announcement, even though he didn't tell us anything. And now this lawyer, allegedly, of Brian, and I haven't watched a lot of his because I just know he's full of it, is coming out, and you have released text messages from Brian Laundrie's lawyer to some, I don't know if I don't want to give disinformation, but some like journalist or something. Like, so you're talking about lawyer text messages being leaked. Like, it's so very Hollywood and soap opera-y, and then he's coming on and he's discussing this whole case and his thoughts about it and but again, what if this goes to trial and this lawyer is out talking to every news? Like, it's just, again, it's not real life, in my opinion.
Right. Exactly. And that's what just gets me, like I said, my friend Debbie's like always sitting there going, how can people not see this? And I'm like, well, most people, when they're watching the news, they're watching the news to hear what's going on in the world. They're not watching the news to see how fake it is. They're watching the news, to get their news, so they're not going to see it, So, we all started from somewhere. We all, got to remember where we came from, because we've all been there, done that. Some people are born with that ability to see right through everything, but not many, I don't think. And but we all came from somewhere. But it does kill me that people, like I said, if they're watching the news, they're watching the news because they do it at every night at 5:00. They turn on their news because that's how they get their information. So they're turning on the news to see what's going on in the country today, and that's what they're not looking for anything suspicious. They're not even thinking anything suspicious because they're watching the news every day.
And a lot of people, yeah, exactly. And a lot of people have lives. Like, so they even if they wanted to vet the information for themselves, they don't probably have time. And that's why they turn to the mainstream media to, like you said, further news. But now it's like nothing of what they tell us is real. And it's sad because even if there is some true stories out there, now people have to decipher which is false and which is true. And
we do too. That's just what's really crazy is that we got to be very careful what we pick and choose to listen to, because they're trying to trick us too. It's like we can know so much. And I just wanted to say hello to Nuckin. Good to see you, Nuckin. Anyway, but yeah, it's like we always have to sit here, and I sometimes I start to lean towards something that I hear, and I'm like, wait. And then I really have to look at it with my critical thinking and going, nope. Because they're trying to pull us all in at every which way possible. So we all have to sift through all this crap because they're just coming at us at all angles. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And with the symbolism, I've talked to like Scotty about this before, and I've talked to Chica about it, but at times I almost wonder if they not only do they love their symbolism, and we know that, but I almost feel at times like they do make it so like right in our faces, so that someone like, you or myself, they know, or these other truther like RV Truth, they know that we're gonna cover it. So I almost wonder if they do it on purpose, knowing that we're going to expose them, so that when we do, we look like the crazy people. Does that make sense?
Right.
So
yeah.
So absolutely. We're just automatically the crazy conspiracy theorists, right? Because they know that we're going to point this out. Right. I almost feel like that's almost an agenda as well behind it, but I'm not really sure.
Well, they are. They're trying to say that we're terrorists. Conspiracy theorists are terrorists. Now the unvaxxed are terrorists. We're all terrorists. I mean, anybody that goes against the narrative or goes, that is speaking the truth, that is pulling out the truth, is their enemy. And they have to do everything they can to stop us. And that's why we can never stop. Ever. That's what I say.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks, and we always have to be careful what we're doing. But at this point, I say, fuck it. We gotta keep going. Got to keep going. Got to keep getting out that truth.
Yeah, I agree. And people will say, like, why are you trying to do this? Why are you trying to, like, not a lot of people, but I've had comments recently where they're like, why do you care so much about waking people up? And it's like, because if people don't wake up, like, not only is it's going to, affect myself and my family, because when you have these individuals who are not awake and they are brainwashed and
comply,
and when they, like with after these like pew 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 events, when they're immediately, you have those crisis actors that are immediately the day of or just shortly after, even though they're still grieving, right? Like they just literally lost their child, right? But they're already going, oh, banned, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, to me, that's a huge red flag. If they're already pushing for some sort of right to get taken away or freedom. But so when people think with their emotions, they're like, oh my God, this is terrible. We need to stop these children from dying from the hands of these objects, right? So what do? It's like that Hegelian dialectic that you're very familiar with, right? That you hear me talk about all the time. They trick us by swaying emotions, and so these individuals think that they are doing something good for society, and I can't blame them for that, because they have feelings and emotions, unlike these whatever you want to call them, beings that are orchestrating these events. I wouldn't necessarily call them human, but they are, I don't know what to call them. I have words to call them, but I won't call them that on my stream. But they think that they're doing something beneficial by demanding that something be done about those objects, when in reality they're only making things so much worse.
Let me point this out. Now, I've learned something new, and I didn't ever think of it that way, but from RV Truth, I think it was his last live that I learned this, but and had to really put my critical thinking hat on when he said it. All these psyops, the mass pew pew pews going on and blah blah blah. All this time, they have in our GOV, they have all the rights right now, where they can take all of our rights away if they wanted to by law, but they're not doing it. Now, he pointed out that, and I was like, God, I can't believe I never thought about that before. Instead of taking our rights away, our Second Amendment rights away, what they're doing, and if I don't know if anybody's ever noticed, but they're selling more GUNs, like they, don't know why I said that.
I have noticed that, actually.
But they're selling more and more and more, and now states are coming to where you don't even need to have a license to carry one, and so they want people to be loaded. Okay, they want people to just keep buying and buying and buying and buying, because they do want to create chaos. So they want us to have them, because if they're going to disarm, and let me tell you, if they're going to disarm a country, they already know how to do it. Okay, they've already done it in many, 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 many other countries. They're going to disarm. They're going to do it here. People are saying, oh no, I've got, my black little friend, which, some of us do and some of us don't. I lost mine in the boating accident 2 weeks ago. But anyway, what I'm saying is, but they want us to be armed, because they want us they want chaos. And so think about, they're doing this because they want people to buy more. They're not stopping that, and they could stop it anytime they wanted to right now, and they're not doing it. And RV brought that up the other day, and I was like, you know what, I'll be damned. Because I learn a lot from him. If anybody doesn't know, if anybody can, any mod in this chat right now, find RV Truth's channel, go ahead and drop the link in there. I'm telling you guys want to know real truth, he's the one to follow. He is spot
I'm always promoting his channel, and you know that because he's pointing out all the same things in these other tragic events that I pointed out in the Watts case, as well as these other true crime cases where the symbolism is literally in plain sight. And that's why I always say I hope that their symbolism will be their downfall. But that's what I was saying earlier, just real fast, is that even if you don't believe in the whole symbolism thing, which I think is it's one of the biggest ways, or not biggest, but the easiest ways to spot these events is through the symbolism.
Yes.
And again, once you notice it, once you see it, it's so very easy to spot. You don't even have to look for it. You might have to do like a search about a name, somebody's name meaning or something, like just a one-step search. But other than that, that's just the whole like triangle thing is just so ridiculous, but it's so in our faces, and the majority of people literally have no idea. But back to like the whole pew 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 thing, if you notice too with Sleepyhead, our president, Sleepyhead hair sniffer. I'm sorry, I don't get political, but I don't even want to say his name. He now he's trying to pass this law where it's like, oh, you can keep it, your protective object, right? But you have to pay $200 flat fee. So if everybody that owns one of those in the United States has to pay $200, you know how much money that they're making? So to me, that also makes sense as to why they're like so many people are buying them up and why they're allowing it to happen as well. Because it's all about making money. And then not only that, but then they can just take it away at any time, especially when you have those individuals that are pleading for our government to take those rights away as well. So
yes, just for me to get mine legal, not in the state I am in now, but and when I first bought my pew 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 that I lost 2 weeks ago in the boating accident.
I thought you said it was 3 weeks ago, Michelle.
Oh yeah,
which one is it? No.
3 weeks now. But it costed me, at least $1,000 just to get it, just to buy it. Get it, do all the paperwork on it, to get it registered, to get trained, to get, go through the classes and all that. I mean, they made so much money off of me. Just one black little friend that is gone now. That is now gone in the river.
Right?
Yes.
No, those, you got to be careful on those river trips. Again, I lost mine too.
I know. So. You just don't take it fishing with you guys. Your boat might fall over, might tip over.
And every single one of Brian's and High Impact folks also lost theirs on a boating trip. Go figure.
Well, yeah. Well, that's, it just sucks, I guess, because it was all, we were all out having fun, Come on now.
Yeah, exactly. But no, yeah, I agree. It's always, and not to get like political, but I have noticed too that the left and right paradigm thing, the whole Democratic and Republican, like they all are, allies and not allies, like with the different countries or whatever. They're all sleeping in the same bed together. Oh yeah, it's all a show. Like
they're all drinking from the same cup. Yes,
exactly. They're drinking the same Kool-Aid. So when it comes down to it, they're all just pieces of shit, in my opinion. But yeah, it's all. So, and just they make us feel like the public has like they're so privileged because they get to vote and whatnot, when it really doesn't count.
It doesn't. None of it does.
Our whole like future is pretty much already like written for us, in my opinion, especially with these events. But it totally is. So like the whole Trump thing and the whole Pelosi, or like just like I said, Democratic and Republican. It's all a show, and it's all staged. Like the world is into a stage,
right? And I hear some channels that they're truther channels, and they say so much truth, and then they turn around and they're still in the political spectrum, and people don't understand. They don't understand the guy, that guy that is the head guy in that black house here in the United States. I will never say his name because it's just bleh. But they're all blah. And he's just a puppet on a green screen. He's not even there in that black house. And people don't understand. He's on a green screen. He's not even there. I mean, they want you to they just want, division and turmoil and people go, hate and people going. I mean, everybody, if they'd used their critical thinking, if their vote really counted, that guy in the Black House would not be there, because we all know who they would have, wanted. It's all made by design. It's all done by design. They're all reading from a script. The world is a stage. 100%. The world is a stage.
Yep. And the whole left and right is like, and I remember in Bill Cooper's interview specifically, he said, as long as we have a left and a right, the political system will never work. Ever.
Right.
And just when you have a left and a right and two sides, there's always going to be division. And that's what they want. They want us to be divided, because when we're divided, they know that we outnumber them.
Right.
By a landslide. So by keeping us divided and the whole racial thing and just everything, it makes them stronger and us weaker, and by distracting us as well. So yeah, I agree 100% with that.
Right. And that's where I think people would be, have their eyes opened up the most if they understood how that all works and who is really in charge and who is running the show and who's been running the show since way before our time. So it's, that's where I think, like I said, I've seen truther channels sit there and they're going and they're speaking good truth, and then they turn around and they're believe that said the guy in the Black House is ruining this country. And I'm like, no. I'm like, he's just a puppet.
I mean,
he's not doing anything. This guy doesn't even know his name. I'm just like, come on, people. They're giving him too much power. You can't.
And the whole Trump thing with fake news media, it's
biggest deceiver I've ever seen. Oh yeah, biggest deceiver I've ever known was that guy.
And trust me, I was one where I was like, yes, we don't have a politician. I'll even admit it. I'm like, I'm hoping that he'll change things around. I even fell for it.
Yeah.
But then when he started pushing Operation Warp Speed and just
that was
supporting the pharmaceutical companies, I was like, nope, he's a puppet. He's not. I mean, there was other red flags.
These people still think he's going to come back and save the world. I'm like, no. I'm like, he's pushing the VAXXs now. Come on now, people. You got to understand the agenda, the narrative, the script. It's all a script.
So
it's crazy.
Sorry, I'm just saying Miss Mence is saying that she doesn't want us to get political, but the fact of the matter is everything boils down to politics, in my opinion. And I'm not one to get into politics. I don't know enough about it. I'm not educated on it as much as other people, so I don't try, especially when I know that it causes such controversy between people, especially that in religion. But when it boils down to it, politics is government, and they are the ones who are orchestrating these events, and it does still lead back to politics. It is.
I pay attention. I pay attention to what they say. Not very little. I have C-SPAN, subscribed to C-SPAN, but that's about as far as I go. So I kind of pay attention to what they say, because what they're saying to the public, we need to know on the up and up. But it's crazy because you want to know what they're saying, but you can't believe in that they're wanting to help us. And I just wanted to say one quick thing. Alexis Lee says, Michelle Frost, hi, and you and Megan are awesome together. I just had to say that. Thank you, Alexis.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm so glad you came on, because I know that you've been wanting to do this for a while. But and so Molson Man says politics is everywhere. There's no getting around it or avoiding it. And I agree. And it's not like Miss Smith, I'm not up here. I just got done saying I don't know everything about politics, but in my opinion, I do believe that the world is a stage, and that it's they all sleep in the same bed together. So I'm allowed to have that opinion, especially since it's my
yeah.
channel. I'm not giving out any disinformation. People know that
no,
come on my channel need to
absolutely
take
not.
it with a grain of salt and think for themselves. So again,
Yes, think for yourselves. It's just our opinion, YouTube. That's it. We're not giving out any medical information, any of that, you know. Heck no. We want people
But-
to know for themselves. That's it. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna
agreeing with you.
comment something else, but no, again, yeah. So this is an opinionated. What? We speak opinions on this channel. We speak our mind on the channel,
That's what we are.
I just like to come up with like words too. So you know, you don't have to use the words that I use, but I like to make up my own words. But no, it's anyone is allowed to speak their opinions on here. Again, nobody should.
Yes.
If any channel should believe what I'm saying or what Michelle's saying simply because we're saying it. Again, do your own research. So that's so important. I don't expect anybody to believe anything I'm saying, especially when I preach to everybody else not to think for themselves. So but yeah, it's just our opinions fully. So anyways, yeah, but we'll stay away from the politics because I know people get upset about it. So
yeah, no problem.
But yeah, no, but I will probably on that note end this because I do have to make some dinner soon. But I really, really appreciate you coming up here, Michelle, and I would love to have you back on, and I'd like to go on your channel as well.
Oh, absolutely.
But just give me the heads up on Discord for sure, so that because I think I'm getting your notice. You haven't done a live stream in a while, right? Because I haven't got.
Oh, it's been about a month and a half since I've been
good because I was like,
YouTube.
I'm not getting notifications if you have been. So, but yeah, so I'd love to go on your channel as well.
Going live. Yeah, I'm thinking about going live here. I don't know when. Maybe within the next couple of days. I've been having that itch, and just to just to go live and just to say hey to everybody and that kind of stuff. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I've been waiting for a very long time just to, sit with you on a panel, and yeah, it's been great. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I'm glad you made it up. So, and we'll do this again sometime for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to post my channel.
Yeah, please post your link. And anybody else, please do, Michelle, and anybody else, any of my mods that, again, if you have any, like Melissa Jade, please post. RV Truth, a call for an uprising, if you guys can post that, please. And any other TCA, please feel free to post your channel link. She's doing great live streams as well. And any other channels that you guys recommend, I fully trust you, and you guys want to promote, please do so. And thank you again, Michelle, for coming up, and Scotty, even though we had some technical issues. I hope Scotty will come up again soon. But thank you so much for coming up, and we'll definitely do it again.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Right.
You all have a wonderful night. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate you guys so very much. I don't even know how I can post. How can I post from here?
You should be able to. No.
I don't know if I can. Shit.
Thank you, Hard Eyes. Thank you, Callie, and all my moderators.
Yeah, I mean, you got great mods, including me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
You are. No, I appreciate every one of you. So
thank you so guys, much. I love your peeps. You guys are great. So you guys are awesome. But yeah, I was gonna post my channel, but I can't do it on. I guess I could go in here and post it.
Yeah, you can't do it on StreamYard. Unfortunately, I don't think. Yeah, you can't comment. I don't think. But yeah,
I can. I know how to do it. I'm being dumb. It's been a while. But I'm gonna echo here for real quick. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't comment. I don't think. But yeah.
I know how to do it.
Oh no.
I'm being dumb. It's there. Sorry.
That's okay.
There we go.
Oh, and Enchanted Life Path too. Thank you, Hard Eyes. Appreciate that. But yeah, so let's please do it again sometime, Michelle. And everybody, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Again, think for yourselves. Don't believe everything you hear. Do your own research.
Right.
As say as it sounds, it's so important. And I will do another one of these live panels, stream panels soon. So thanks again, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you. Take care, babe. Bye.
You too.